hear you. You know, we've been talking a lot about processes and snapshot reports, and packaging has been a lot of recurring features in the Conquer Local community sessions, the think tank, and also, you know, like even with our execs, we met with our VP at Vendasta, Jeff Falcomer, and one thing that he wanted to talk about was the importance of having a framework and a process. And I know that a lot of people have been having success with the development of processes. Anybody want to share how building that process and following the process has helped them? Nobody? I know there's somebody.
Andrew, I'll jump in. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
Douglas.
last week, my business partner, Tom, had talked about one of the epiphanies that he saw in some of what Dennis was saying in his first session. And, you know, we have made a tremendous amount of progress in our conversations each week with Becky O'Hara. And then on top of that, we've started to apply that process across the rest of our businesses, including a weekly 30-minute meeting with our attorney, one with our CPA, and aspects like that that are driving the process through other aspects of our business, not just this, but additional aspects that actually help round out and create the infrastructure for everything to go forward.
That's awesome. And how does it feel having a process in place?
You know, I'm kind of a seat of the pants kind of guy. I don't even wear a watch, but at the same time, knowing that I'm going to get to talk to them every week does make a big difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that story. I see Dennis is logging in there. Hey, Dennis.
Hey
How
guys,
are you doing?
Good, good. Greetings from DC today.
DC. Nice. What's going on
You up
there?
there changing laws, man?
We're selling some property and we're getting ready to meet with Pitbull next week. You guys heard of Pitbull? He's got a lot of big songs.
Nice.
So 3 or 4 projects there, and we have a new partner, Alex. We have 2 Alexes. The other Asian Alex, who's now working on this because he chose education as his vertical. And you guys probably know Pitbull has 190 charter schools with 200,000 students. And we're working on SEO, and we've already run the Vendasta snapshot reports on those locations. And so in addition to those schools, we have a pay-per-view concert that we're going to start promoting in 2 weeks. So you've heard about it here first. And that's also going to a education program that we have. So the idea of mixing education and entertainment is something that I think only Pitbull and a few other people can actually pull off, to have feet in both camps. So I'm excited for Alex Cow here. Are you here, Alex? Thought I saw you. There you are.
Yeah, I'm actually here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
What do you think?
Yeah, I read through the email you shared this morning, and it's going to be a great project to be around. I mean, to be involved, and you know, I'm super excited for that.
Do you feel maybe intimidated or over your head?
You know, when I first started, when you emailed me this morning, I feel that way because I don't know how Bliss gets things done. So I didn't want to take a lead on it. But you know, after a couple of emails, I feel a lot better.
And you're going to do well because you got a team behind you, and it's a matter of just executing, trusting the recipe, following the process. I think the same is true for Eric Nowinski, who now has a business we gave him as our real estate figurehead and also our Snapchat ambassador. Maybe Eric could talk about that. Unmute yourself. I see you there, Eric. Oh. Well, while we're waiting on Eric, do you hear us, Eric? You guys hear me? Maybe it's me.
Yes, we hear you.
All right. While we're waiting on Mr. Eric, unless you're there.
I think I'm gonna have to step out here.
There you go, Eric. You should be good. I think we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, these headphones aren't working. I'm not at my home office. Sorry about that, guys.
So Eric, tell us about the Snapchat deal. What happened?
Yeah, so Dennis asked me to be on a project to help create a course for local businesses to use Snap ads. So right now I'm going to be kind of reskinning the social amplification engine and then mapping that out in a course, an interactive course. So using an interactive landing page, you know, kind of the if then Bandersnatch example that we've seen before with Nancy Danusek and that kind of gym example that Dennis used last week. And so I'll be doing that for local businesses and Snapchat ads, and then kind of using that as a way to teach local businesses on how to use the platform, and also help other advertisers get on board by using that coupon, that 50 for $150 coupon. So yeah, those are kind of the projects that I'm starting. So I'm excited to get through it, but also it's a lot to do, so I'm learning as fun as I go.
Yeah. So we're in the business of creating your business and building your business. And Eric said he wanted to do real estate. I think Snapchat and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram are all going to be fantastic for real estate agents to be able to grow their relationships. Anyone working in a lighthouse where it's professional services, I think that's going to be key. You have a massive advantage when you have folks like Snapchat reaching out to us asking for help, right? Imagine Snapchat or Instagram reaches out to you and says, hey, we want help promoting our platform. We're going to give you access to marketing, to engineering, to product. We're going to give you ad dollars. We're going to do all these different things, give you access to things that no one else has. And we're going to pay you a bounty on people that sign up under your code. And in addition to that code, if you spend $50, we're going to give you $150 in extra ad revenue. And I had the choice of spend X, get X. So we could have said spend 1,000, get 1,000, spend 2,000, get 2,000. Any program we want. So think about why having an advantage like that creates authority is like cheating. And what I want everyone here to realize is that we have in our combined network so much bounty, so much available that if you're struggling and your agency is only at 10 clients with 10 chiropractors, then you could easily be doubled or triple that. That's right, Tristan. Not because you're just Tony Robbins is in whatever your way there, but because you actually build the systems and processes. In the last 3 weeks, we talked about building authority. 3 different ways to build authority. The next 3 weeks, we're going to talk about what it is to have $1 million client. Not $1 million agency, but an agency with multiple $1 million clients. And we're breaking it down into getting the leads for $1 million clients, closing $1 million clients, which is the next week, and executing $1 million clients, which is in week 3, which is number 6. This is module 4 in season 2. Before we start, I want to introduce 2 guests who we were together in person in Indianapolis, if you can believe it or not, this past weekend. I thought everything was shut down, but these guys were able to pull off a conference with 300 chiropractors. We have Dr. Jordan Bowen, who is a chiropractor, and we have Tristan Parmley. I thought maybe they could give you a view into what it's like to make $100,000 in 1 hour. We spoke at this conference. We had 30 plus chiropractors sign up on the spot, put in their credit card, and pay $2,500 for our package. That's not counting the monthlies, right? Any of you guys made $100,000 in an hour or would like to know how to make $100,000 in an hour?
Oh, I want to know.
Category? Yeah, Timothy Dunn. So I'd like to invite Jordan and Tristan to talk about what happened this past weekend.
All right.
You guys can meet yourselves.
Yep. So I guess I'll start. It was a whirlwind and it was insane. When Dennis talks about procedures and checklists, we definitely need to make sure that we're following those, because 1 or 2 clients is one thing whenever you're trying to service them, but whenever you have 40 clients signing up, if you don't have those systems in place, then your reputation is going to be tarnished. You're not going to be able to fulfill any of that, and you're not going to be able to provide the service that you want. So really, whenever you're going through all this, just make sure that you keep in mind what your process actually is going to be when you do get those clients, because it needs to be repeatable and it needs to be able to be something that can be done in a timely fashion. Now, as far as the actual event, it's you plan as best as you can, and then you need to know how to be flexible, because if you're not flexible and you try to stay rigid, then nothing's going to get done. you have to adapt and you have to learn to think on your feet and on the fly to be able to do whatever is needed in order for these events to go off as cleanly as possible. And then it's not a hard sell. Dennis spoke from stage, we spoke from stage and presented an offer, and it was something that was a no-brainer. And I mean, like we said, 40 clients showed up and signed up right then and there without even having a hard sell. And a lot of us think that, you know, you have to go and pursue the clients and sell them hard, and that's not the case. If you're giving them something that they can see the value in, they're going to show up and they're going to put their credit card information in, as long as it's something that you're going to be able to deliver on. But yeah, it was just an amazing experience. I thank you, Dennis, for the blessing, for the opportunity to be able to help you. And if anything else, feel free to reach out and let me know.
So you did a great job, Jordan. And maybe Tristan could talk about what actually happened at the event and what are some of the mechanics that were necessary behind the scenes to drive sales and authority. When we got done speaking on stage and then went to lunch, I had people that came up to me saying, hey, I bought your package, but what did I buy? Can you tell me what I bought? Right? There was no need to even convince them. So why is that? And Tristan, what have you learned just in the last couple of years or whatnot, or even in the last few months, or even when we spent some time together after the event?
Yeah, awesome. Can everybody hear me? I'm in a McDonald's. I'm taking care of my grandmother today, so I had to step out, and we live in the middle of nowhere, so there's not even internet there. So as long as you guys can hear me, thumbs up. Awesome. And then I saw also a quick question from an Adam. Is there a place to get processes and procedures? Yes, Blitz Metrics. Listen to Dennis. They're everywhere. And I've like been using them in our agency. They're incredible. The thing that happened on stage, and this happened on stage, Dennis did this on stage. He empowered the clients to see how easy it was. So he took the checklist, he took the steps, and he invited clients to do it and do the speaking and teaching for him. In other words, he had the clients lead by example. He didn't have to pull teeth. He didn't have to hard sell. They saw that it was possible because he made it so easy, less than 3 steps, for clients to do exactly what they need to do to see success, which is, you know, creating the videos and doing the other things that go with the checklist. And that was probably the biggest epiphany for me at that event and over the past 3 months, just following Dennis, because we've been building an agency. We were failed funnel hackers. We were building campaign after campaign after campaign and falling on our face. But then Dennis came into the groups that we were in, and I saw how he teaches and how he has the checklists and procedures, just like Jordan said, and how he makes it so easy for a client to execute that they don't even know what they're doing, but they're doing the right thing and they see results from it. That's why they walked up to him and said, I don't even know what I bought. But it works because you're telling them what to do and you're giving them the system and you're giving them a process. And we were the agency that for 2 years was running around doing anything our clients asked us to do, but they're asking us to lead them and to teach them. They don't know what they're doing. That's why they hire us. And Dennis helps really empower his clients. And that's what we've been attempting to do for our clients. And now we actually have the roadmap to do that through Dennis, Blitz Metrics, Vendasta, and everything else that all the other tools that we're using. I hope that answers the question, Dennis.
So Tristan, tell everyone who you are and about your agency.
Awesome. So my name is Tristan Parmley, and I'm the co-founder and product developer at Chiro Revenue. We empower chiropractors to lead their community to better health. And so we do that through proven scripts that follow like the why, how, what strategy. But we found that a lot of our clients were having a difficulty understanding it. They were asking exactly what to do, and we weren't all the way there yet. So we use story service sales. It's the exact same thing. We work with chiropractors, so we call chiropreneurs. They want to own other businesses or they want to have a team under them, and we give them that team. Team is a double standard, double meaning. Tell everyone about me system, which is the scripts and the videos, and then also the support team that actually executes everything for them and tells them exactly what to do on a weekly basis.
And Tristan has done a marvelous job in growing his agency. A lot of us had to start in the same place he did, where we had some difficult personal challenges. And he was able to partner with his friend and hire his brother. He has his mom doing accounting, and he's now grown to 10 chiropractors. Isn't that amazing? 10 of them, paying $1,000 or $2,000 a month as a fee, spending a couple $1,000s a month. You know, making 10 grand a month is not a lot of money, but if you're just getting going, that's not bad. And Tristan and I have been talking the last few days about how to scale his agency, and by using authority and processes. And I think you'll see that the things that he's overcome are the same things that you will have to overcome too, if you haven't already, which is being able to get so good on your operations that you can squeeze that down to where it's only a third of your time. If you're busy trying to execute and you can't squeeze down your operations to a third, then you don't have a third of your time to learn and a third of your time to teach. We call that learn to teach, right? So think about, if you're overwhelmed, if you're working too hard, it's probably because you don't have enough systems and processes to then free up the time to be able to learn, to be able to build authority, to be able to create documents, to be able to network. And it's one of those things where you want to spend time sharpening the saw instead of trying to chop the tree down by working harder. Do you guys resonate with that? A lot of you guys are struggling. I see privately, you guys are telling me, and you think you're going to get there by working harder. I can promise you that's not the answer.
And Dennis, can I add one more thing onto
Go
that?
ahead. Yep.
Also, learn to teach and share. When you guys get a win with a client, in 2019, my partner and I got an office, and we'd be there before sunrise. It didn't have windows, and we'd be there after the sunset. So I didn't see the sun for an entire year, and we just kept building and building and building and working and just failing and falling on our faces. And what was crazy is our clients were getting results. We've never lost a client over a year, but we weren't getting that $1 million mark, or we weren't getting that, extra 100K a month, client. And so we weren't sharing the success amongst our clients. They would go and tell, hey, are you guys ready for a new client? Because we're ready to refer. And some of you guys, I know for sure, are probably having wins like that as well. But because they're not what you imagine yet, you might not be sharing them. And one thing that Dennis does an amazing job of not only learning, doing, and teaching, but just sharing, even the small things, that's momentum. And when you share that and you just get a few likes or comments or a message or, hey, how did you do that? That is like momentum. And that is something that we were not doing. And that is going to tear you apart because you feel like you're losing when you're really not. You're really not. So I just wanted to add that.
Listen to what Tristan said. And congratulations to Jordan and Tristan. Even in the Black Diamond Club, which is the group of 700 chiropractors, that revenue that we drove on stage just a few days ago, if you look at, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say it's 40 chiropractors on average paying $1,000 a month. That's $40,000 a month of ongoing revenue. That is halfway towards $1 million business. I'm not saying Tristan and Jordan need to have $1 million business, which is what the next 3 episodes are about, but certainly that's got to help, right? Would you like $1 million is $83,333 a month. But wouldn't that be nice to have? Think of the impact you could have in your community, the people that you could hire, not having to worry about bills, all the self-help stuff that people talk about. What's it like to have the laptop lifestyle, financial freedom? But no, really, what does that mean? The bigger you are, the more you need in systems and processes. So now we're going to start today's episode, which has some lessons and exercises. Hey, give me a holler in the comments if you can see this okay. And we're on page 239 out of 284. My goodness. Now tell me, where are you? Let me know in the chat, how many sessions have you been to? I think we've had something like 24 plus. We've got 4 this season already. All of them. More lost counts, says Malcolm. All of them, says Mitch. Chaya. All right. And who's brand new? Let me know who's brand new. 15, 20. I see a lot of familiar faces. Isaac, first one live. Congrats. Mike, brand new. Okay. We are here to help you grow your agency. We're working on the business of growing your agency, not on mechanics of how do you do SEO, PPC, that kind of stuff. We have training inside the Vendasta Academy, which is free right now, on how do you do all those things. How do you build landing pages? How do you run ads? How do you edit videos? All that stuff is there. But we're here as agency owners, and we're talking about the business of running an agency, which is getting clients, servicing them, and driving more leads off of that, right? Hiring people, the business of this. Now we're in season 2. We're on episode 4. Sessions were on building authority, which you absolutely need. That's what's going to drive a sale. And the next 3, we're talking about what is it like to get $1 million client? What do you need to do to drive the leads? How do you close the leads, which is next week? And how do you service the leads, which is the week after? Okay. And don't think that because you're not ready in your mind to take $1 million client, that this doesn't apply to you. Even if it's just you and you're getting things going, all of these principles apply. I want you to see what is the difference between where you are and tidbits that you could learn. Like Tristan said, just a little bit here and there, right? Some of you guys are asking, where do you get the recordings? They're all there in the academy. We have the Snapshot Ninja training, which George has put together. Learn how to do a local audit. These are things that cost us $2, but we can sell for several $100s. And it's not some kind of BS markup. We are providing incredible value. I'll burn a lot more than $2 for this report, right? But it's not the tool, it's how do you use the tool. So learn how to use the tool. You'll always find something wrong with other businesses in these 6 areas. Think of it as like an MRI, like Dr. Glenn Vo talked about, to be able to figure out what's wrong and make a good recommendation so you can actually improve the results. It's not that you're trying to sell them on a package. It's that you're trying to diagnose and figure out what they need. You're a doctor figuring out what we need to do to heal the patient. Make sure you're in our Facebook group for Conquer Local Think Tank. And if you can, join the office hours, which are every Wednesday starting next week, where you can bring your one-on-one questions. So if you have any questions related to your ad, if you want to role play with me, see if you can close me, I'll be the client, or we can reverse and you be the client, I be the agency. I think you guys will find that's a lot of fun. It's electric, it's scary, but hey, you know, it's nice having me and another, all right? I think it's kind of like cheating, right? I wish I was LeBron James, but you know, not really. Okay, so 7 figures is the magic thing that people like to talk about. 7 figures is $1 million. Some people call it double comma. And if you're charging by the hour, let's say you're a lawyer, that's $500 an hour. I have an attorney, his name's Bennett Kelly. He was one of the original IP attorneys in the world of internet marketing. I think he was the general counsel of DoubleClick, if you guys remember that. And he charges me $500 an hour. I talked to him for 2 hours today. It cost me $1,000. And if you work 2,000 hours, 40 hours a week times 50, that's $1 million. But then again, we said we're not going to work 40 hours a week. Amen? How many hours do you work? Let me know how many hours you work. Put it in the chat. Real hours. 25. That's about the right number per week. Urban works 25 hours. 30, 10, 40, 4 hours a day. That's right. 4 hour work week. Okay. Tim Ferriss, 60. Man, well, Joe's in the restaurant industry, so that's understandable. So we understand that to get to $1 million, selling your time by the hour is basically making yourself an intellectual prostitute. No offense. You guys follow me on that? You've got to be able to get residual income where they're paying you every month. That means you have to invest in driving a package, which means delivering a result. Another way is by the package. So if you have 20 clients, you can see here, you know, at 4,000 or 10 of them at 8,000 or, you know, 83 of them at 1,000 a month, that's how you get to 83,000. So then it's a matter of how big are those packages and how many can you sell and how much do you have to be involved. The beauty of Vendasta is that you can outsource everything in a white label format so that you only have to manage your relationships. And then if you have other account managers, you don't even have to do that. You just need to be a figurehead where you're collecting authority. We know the percent of spend's another way to do that. That's what most of the media folks are doing. So typical percent of spend, you know, is 10%. If it's something bigger, like you're running and they're spending $40, $50 million a month, you might only get 5 or 6%. Would you rather get 5 or 6% on 10 million a month than 10% on $1,000 a month or 15% on, you know, 1,000 a month? It adds up. Like for Warriors, we got 1% of the revenue. That was pretty awesome. Doesn't sound like much, but you know, the Golden State Warriors, especially during the NBA finals when they were winning before this whole pandemic thing happened, before their stars got injured, we were making some pretty good money. I was logging into our portal with Ticketmaster, see how much revenue there was. I'm like, that's pretty good, man. I wish the NBA finals could go on forever. You know, I love going to the games, but I love even more logging into Ticketmaster and see how much money we're making. And then there's rev share and profit. And that's where you're going to get the biggest deals. You're going to make the most money, but it requires the most skill. It has the most risk. just an hour ago, I was on the phone with someone. I can't tell you their name, but they know, you know who they are. They're a larger, very famous and has a TV show, and they have a beauty and skincare line. And we agreed tentatively to doing a rev share. And you've heard her before for sure. And I need someone to work on that. Who wants to partner with me on that one, right? Who understands beauty and spirituality and helping people feel good about themselves, right?
I do.
So those are, who's it, Bonnie? Okay.
I do as well. It's going to be my lighthouse.
Kathy? Okay, anyone who wants to do this should talk to John or Jordan or Eric or the other people that we mentioned, right? Get qualified. And, you know, like our newest Alex, we have 2 Alexes. When you choose a lighthouse, who can tell me why do we want to choose a lighthouse? Because a lighthouse, you're limiting yourself. Like, oh, I only want to work on chiropractors. Yeah, but you could work on other doctors and mortgage brokers and real estate agents. What? Tell us, why do we want to choose a lighthouse? Right? Because if you need more money, you don't want to limit who you serve, right? That's right, Angelica. Laying, yep, be the expert. That's right, Eric. Easier to have repeatable excellence. Because you can get that one client and they will believe you because you have an earnest story or you're charismatic, but you want to keep the client. Keeping the client is how you make the money, not landing the deal. That's how you can tell when someone's junior, when they're focusing on getting the clients versus keeping the clients. Okay. And it's also how you go from being a one-man show to having an agency. How many of you here, if you stepped out of your business, your agency, for a week, what would happen? Tell me what would happen. You did nothing. You need to go on vacation. You closed down. Why?
Do not have processes in place, other people working.
That's right. If you are still required in your agency, you do not have an agency. You're a consultant. Okay. Yeah. My VAs would do the work. They're already doing it. Fantastic. Very smart. Okay. Now, remember we talked about teaching from example, and Tristan talked about that. It's always those little details. And the idea of learn, do, teach is the only people who should teach are those who have done it before. Otherwise, you're just repeating what someone else said, which may sound good, but who knows if that's legit or not. So I'm going to show you a bunch of examples on deals that we have prepared, some that we have closed. And I want you to see what are the aspects of a $1 million client. Okay, so what distinguishes a high authority $1 million client, a high authority wrapper? So what does that mean? It means any material you have has to have the social proof, and it's wrapped around the 3 components of authority. Who could name what the 3 components of authority are? We talked about that maybe 7 sessions, 8 sessions ago. What does it mean to be high authority? Who, what, and where? That's right. Who is it with? So when I take pictures with Sean Dill and Tristan Parmley, then that has some authority with chiropractors, right? Where is it? It is in a high authority place, like on stage, on CNN, on a podcast, and on a website. And what are we talking about? The highest authority, what? Is the step-by-step checklist proof. The $1 million client also needs white glove service. So instead of delegating the touch to the VAs, that means you need higher level people. So higher level account managers. And in our big clients, they actually get me in the meetings. I attend maybe 3 meetings a week. I attend almost no meetings, but the enterprise clients, I will attend some of the meetings, especially if the CEO is attending or the CMO of a big company, I'm going to attend. And they pay a premium because they know that you are there. They could set up plumbing by themselves. They could follow the directions on how to set up the access checklist. They could, edit 1-minute videos according to the checklist. But the more checklists you show them, the more you're providing value because you're showing them headaches that they're avoiding, okay? And then strategy consulting is a level above white glove client service where they don't have to worry about it. You're doing everything for them. You're teaching them and you're training them. Everything that we do outside of this for these big brand clients, we do not include consulting or training. You guys understand why consulting and training must be packaged out separately. Because when you have things like VAs and young adults, other folks, they're not doing consulting. We're not talking what if, we're not training them. Consulting, especially at the high level, requires you to be involved. So you must price that out. I charge $1,500 an hour for that, right? And the big brands are happy to pay. And if they're happy to pay that, you know that they can pay you for everything else. Then your pricing needs to be enterprise. So when we first got Microsoft as a client, I thought, wow, we got Microsoft. This is great. This is like super profitable, right? 100 grand to build an app. And that was one of the most unprofitable things I've ever done, because it was meetings and lots of contracts and paperwork, and just, you would not, it was ridiculous, right? So you do have to price this way, not because it's a big company, but because it actually will eat up your cost for your lawyer to go through this stuff, the extra insurance you have to have, the extra documentation. You have to go travel to meet them. There's a lot of things you have to do, right? And there's a lot of do prior to that. So I want to show you what some of these documents look like. This thing is loud. This computer is loud. So these ones here. By the way, if you don't have this document, you can go to themasterpresentation.com and get it for $664 using the code WeLoveDennis. And I'm going to show you how we do all of these. Okay. Now there's different layers of sophistication. So at the first layer, for any kind of client, you're going to have the strategy assessment, the GCT, the goals, content, and targeting. When you have these components, you can do that as self-serve. You'll see that we have it at blitzmetrics.com/GCT. Then if you have your book, whether it's framed as your name or just using ours, we call this the 6-phase social amplification engine. You can take this as is. If it's an enterprise client, you're going to tune it with their materials. You're going to inject their goals, content, and targeting, and that's how they're going to think this whole deck just for me, right? Third piece, strategy assessment. That's when you do a power hour. You're actually analyzing what's going on. You're taking their goals, content, and targeting, which is their strategy, and you're doing some metrics analysis action, which is how you optimize, and you're putting it into that SAE. And in fact, we call that the success tracker. You're only going to prepare a success tracker if you have meetings with the client that has multiple people that include the big boss who doesn't understand and people from other departments. So you can project manage, cover the results, and then cover your ass politically. And then the last piece here is the strategy discussion document. Hey, Mr. Greg. Mr. Greg's on the phone having an important conversation. The strategy discussion document is where you are reviewing, say, on a quarterly basis, the stats that you have. Here's some examples. Ashley Home Store, largest furniture retailer, largest furniture manufacturer on the planet. And then people will say, oh, well, isn't that IKEA? No, IKEA doesn't have as many stores. Ashley's got way more stores. So this is one from last year. And I want to show you how this goes into place. Now, this is the success tracker, which is that third level, okay? Now, notice this is the template of the social amplification engine. Now, this happens to be 56 pages, okay? But it doesn't have to be. And here, what do we start off with? The stats, if this will load properly. What we're doing, right? We did what we need from you, and now we're looking at these stats. So in this period, we generated, 3 million off of 118,000, 30 ROAS. Here's how we're increasing it. Here's what's going on with these particular stores. And then we show for each of these phases. Remember, we have these 6 phases. Here's who's working on each of the 6 phases. And that way they can speak to their part. Here again, we have the 6 phases. Now we've color coded it. Do you guys know why we are color coding this? Why are we color coding it? Yell it out.
To differentiate each section?
That's right. And to differentiate each section, every time we talk about the 3 stages of the funnel, we have a color on each stage. Because even if you show it to them, they will not remember. And you need to talk about each of those 3 stages and just beat it into their heads. You think they know it, you've said it multiple times. I promise you they know it. Why? When you look at the spend, they'll take the entire spend and divide it through the number of sales they drove and calculate the ROAS, when really you have budgets at each of the 3 stages in the funnel. Especially when you're getting going, your ROAS is not as good, right? You reaffirm plumbing every month or every quarter because landing pages change, other things change. We're looking at our stats. We're doing attribution, which is looking at how our other channels are fitting together. And we're talking about how these goals are changing. We said we started at last click. We're looking at overlap. We're doing custom audiences. We're building triggers with if this, then that. That includes text, email, direct mail, media mix modeling. We're uploading sales from the point of sale back into Google and back into Facebook, right? And we're showing, hey, this is how we're doing. Do you know our ROAS at the top of the funnel is 7, but the ROAS at the bottom of the funnel is a 40? And what happens when an executive looks at this, right? Or actually here, 16, 19, 30. Do they even know what a 30 ROAS is? They don't know what that is, okay? I'm just gonna answer the question. They don't know. So you have to educate them. And then if you tell them, look, we've been running store visit campaigns and we're getting people into the store at $7.56. Is that good or bad? Do you know? It depends, right? Depends on whether they're buying. So if our cost per offline purchase, you guys understand offline audiences and local, which used to be a big deal until coronavirus, right? Getting people into the store. If we're getting an actual purchase match back in the CRM for $66 and our cost per store visit is $7.56, that means 1 in 8 people who go into the store are buying, and we can match back that transaction that's $2,500 on average for furniture, right? And then we're able to constantly show, here's the ROI that we have. Here's the benchmarks. Here's where we're meeting those benchmarks, and here's where we're not making those benchmarks. And we have our standards of excellence. We have now, right, plumbing, goals, content. Now with content, we have content and how it's working. Look, here's one ad. Here's a video. Who wants to guess what strategy they're using for making these videos? And look at some of these stats. They look pretty good. What's the strategy that we're using for these videos? When we talk about videos, what kind of videos are we making? 1-minute videos, Eric. That's right. And there are some why videos. There's why, how, and what videos. So top of funnel for awareness, this is a why video. Thank you, Isaac. Now we move down to the middle of the funnel, consideration, which is a how video. And how are these performing? Yep, it's a 3x3, says Alex. And then we go to the bottom of the funnel where we're driving conversion. And you can see the ROAS is awesome. Look, this ROAS is 136. This ROAS is 338. Wow, wouldn't you like something like that? Spend $1, get back $338. That sounds really good to me, right? And so this goes on and on and on. Here's our targeting. Here's our audiences. Look, we've named our audiences. Who can tell us what's going on with this naming convention here? 3_. 7-day website visitors and whatnot. What's going on in this targeting here? Can you see what's going on? Bottom of funnel. That's right, Jimmy. 3 is the bottom of the funnel. 1 underscore is why, 2 underscores how, 3 underscores what. Top, middle, bottom of the funnel. Isn't that cool? Let's talk about amplification, right? The 5th of the 6 stages. Here's what's working. Here are the ads that we have. There's a little Google, there's a little Facebook, and here's how we're building sequences. Now, what did I say before about color coding? Is it important to color code? Yes. So we have awareness. Well, and this one says engagement and conversion, right? Over and over again, we're using the same colors over and over, right? Oh, we like to put in pictures of their people and our people too, just to, give them a good laugh. Because some of this stuff is kind of boring, all this data and all these numbers. Some of the people, the heads of marketing, they don't really, it's nice to be able to make profit, but they like to have fun too, right? Isn't that nice? Topic wheel, building personal brands, optimizing. See? So how are we optimizing? We're looking at our standards of excellence. It's a check engine light. The check engine light says the oil's low, or says, you got to bring the car to the dealer, and we're looking at how we're doing. Now, how much effort do you think it takes to produce one of these things? And by the way, we produce this every week. Every week we produce one of these. How much effort do you think it takes to produce one of these? Thank you, Garrett. It is amazing, isn't it? Isn't that nice? With VAs and a repeatable process, yeah, 0 effort. It costs you a little bit, but the other people are putting this stuff together. Isn't that nice? Then we optimize with our 2x2 grid, which is remarketing and branding, right? Top of funnel, bottom of funnel, and a 2x2. And we have all these different ways of how we put this stuff together. Isn't that nice? I could spend the whole day just on this one, huh? Let's go to another one. This one's Billie Jean is marketing. You guys have heard of Billie Jean? Give me a holler if you've heard of Billie Jean. Guess who powers Billie Jean's back end? We do. And here it is. Here's what we put together, right? Here are the different products they have. Here's how we go through the same thing. We created some documentation against it. This one's a little bit shorter. Let's see. the Toronto Argonauts. This was a sports team. I'm going to go through a number of industries so you can see the same thing. Guess what? It's the success tracker. What did we do? We copy pasted their names. Now, you see here, the font is different. You need to use the same font, okay? If you use a different font, people can tell you're copy pasting, all right? Don't do that. Make it smooth. And here, we're starting with the stats. We're talking about what we did, what we're going to do, what we need from them. It's the same thing. Same process. We call this GSD, getting stuff done, or you can use another word for stuff if you like, right? And they told us they wanted to get in their goals a 500% ROAS, I think. And here they said 400%, and we drove 843, right? How do we do that? Well, by following the same thing, right? Here's the ads. Here's the 3 stages in the funnel. Oh, look, we're naming things the right way. We're collecting goals, content, and targeting. Here's our top ads at different points in the funnel, right? You see this? Isn't that nice? Look, now we're optimizing. Now we're amplifying. Notice the colors. We're using the same colors at every stage of what we're doing, whether they notice this or not. You see these colors? Psychologically, we are incepting them. You follow me on that? That's why these templates are important. A lot of people think that templates are just mindless things. No, these templates are powerful. Look, we're using the same colors. See, now you know where we are. See, isn't that nice? Now, if you have everything organized in this way and it's easy to tell what's going on, do you think it's going to be a lot of effort for you to figure out what's going on and how to tweak stuff? If you need to come in and troubleshoot, let's say you got 10 of these projects. If you had everything organized in the same way, don't you think it's a little bit easier? By the way, every one of these clients that I'm showing you here, we have had them publicly present these statistics. We've had the Warriors present on stage at sports conferences, right? We have all these people come in and do that because then they do the marketing. What do you think has more power? This fat Asian kid talking about basketball tickets, or the head of digital marketing, or the CMO at the Warriors talking about what they're doing and how they're using this process? What has more power? And isn't it better to have them? That's why we want to put these other figureheads out there, right? So we're putting other people who, this guy's 6'5" basketball player, working with Ad Espresso. So we're doing stuff with Massimo. Look, here's Golden State Warriors. When you document what you're doing, then Facebook, this is on Facebook's blog on what we did for the Golden State Warriors. Working with Blitz Metrics, we ran this campaign and we drove a big ROAS, right? Isn't that nice? Now, Facebook is doing the work for us. And would you agree this has higher authority than me talking about it on a podcast somewhere, right? Way better. If we want to incept our lighthouse, let's say our lighthouse is sports teams and we do Facebook ads for them, then if they see the Warriors are successful and it's on Facebook's blog, and Facebook is mentioning this at their big conferences, and Mark Zuckerberg is talking about what we did with the Warriors, which he has, which is great, right? Isn't that way higher authority? That's the high authority wrapper for you. And by the way, don't say, oh, well, I don't have those kinds of clients, so all that stuff Dennis is saying doesn't apply to me. He's just boasting and showing me things that I can't do. That's not true. Because look at all the other people that you've heard from in the last few weeks, and look at how they're in situations that are potentially above their comfort level, right? So you can trust in the platform from George and Andrew Carson and me and the other people to give you this. So we say surgeons don't go around and knock on doors. They stay in the emergency room. Why? Because they have authority, because they're following procedures. Surgeons, because they follow procedures, that doesn't mean that they're dum-dums, right? Pilots, because they have a checklist before they fly, doesn't mean that they're dum-dums. It's the fact that they have those operating procedures in place that allows them to freeze up the time for them to be able to do their awesome things, right? So who here knows about how RFIs and RFPs work? Request for information, request for proposal. Has anyone here, have you dealt with an RFI or an RFP? Let me know. And let me know, do you want to go into detail on how do you respond to one of these? So if a lot of people are telling me no, I'm going to skip it. If I hear a lot of yeses, I'll go into some detail.
Yes.
No? Okay. I need a few more answers. Yes or no? You want to learn about how to respond to these?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, here's the dirty little secret about RFIs and RFPs. If you are not on the inside, you are called column fodder, meaning you are a loser, right? I don't mean a loser as in a loser. I mean a loser as you're not going to win, okay? And I'll explain column fodder in a second. Now, bigger companies, and this one is for a healthcare. This is which healthcare company was it that we got? Kindred Health. Kindred Health has something like 120 hospitals. They're big, right? Multi-billion-dollar hospital chain. And they ran through an agency, and I know their head of marketing, and I know their head of social, I know their head of digital. So when they went through to officially get this paid social RFI, then we knew we were going to win, because they like, okay, you know, we want to work with you guys, but our company policy is that we have to bid it out, because anything over $5,000, we have to bid it out, or, you know, that kind of thing. So if you are not on the inside, you are highly likely to lose. And what's column fodder? Well, you have an agency or the head of marketing or whatever submit the proposal, you know, this RFI, and all these people respond, and then they rank everybody in these columns. 5 points for how much experience they have, 10 points for what their price is, 3 points for whether they have a blue check mark on Facebook. I don't know, whatever it is, right? 2 points for if they're a minority-owned business, you know, whatever it is, they add up this stuff. And then you have a column for each of these other people, and maybe they have to get 5 people to bid, right? And then they calculate their weighting. They have a committee to review all the submissions, and then they choose the one they want, right? And if you know what their criteria is, you can design your proposal to win against it. The other thing too with these is that you don't get paid when you're investing time into responding to RFIs or RFPs. You don't get paid when you're talking to a prospective client. So that client I just talked to, who's a larger Black female, who's got a TV show that's very well known, talking to her and her team, we didn't get paid for that, but I think we're going to get that deal. So I'm willing to spend time on that deal, because I think, you know, you got to take a little gamble. And by the way, if you have a junior salesperson, or if you are a junior salesperson, you want to know what the true likelihood is of converting? You take whatever their estimate is and you divide by 3. Oh, these guys are really, you know, it's going to be where there's an 80% chance of, you know, converting. It's 26%, you know, whatever, 25% chance. You guys are trying to guess who it is, but I think one of those might be the one. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's someone who's really well known. And anyway, so here they're listing the things that they want, right? And if you want to respond to all these different pieces, it might take you quite some time. So what is the way to make sure that you win these RFPs and it takes you the least amount of time to be able to put it together? What kind of I'm asking you guys, put it in the chat. What kind of strategies do you think you might use? And then I'll tell you what my answer is. Because we've done a fair number of these. I can tell you from a lot of pain, a lot of wasted time, a lot of like, oh, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win. Template. That's right, Catherine. That's right. APC. Yep. Template. You use a template. And if you have your success tracker already, then all you have to do is pull out the most relevant examples, put it in here, find out what their weighting criteria is. If you're not on the inside and you don't know the people, I would generally not bid. Even if you think you're going to win, I wouldn't bid. You guys follow me on why? Just don't do that. Okay. All right. The proposal. How much effort have you spent? Have you had a situation where you put all this effort into a proposal? You had a great meeting with the client, right? You ever had that situation? You have a good, you know, it was a great referral, and you felt like everything went really well. You met with them and you put all this time into preparing a proposal. You send it to them. Maybe it takes you a couple days because you want to do a really good job, right? And then they don't come back to you in a few days. And then, yeah, dead silence. A week later, 2 weeks later. And you're like, uh-oh, I'm not feeling good about this. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they tell you, you know, we kind of changed gears and we decided to go another direction, or we decided to go another, you know, postpone the project or whatever it is. And then how do you feel when that happens? And you kick yourself. You feel like, oh, yeah, they shared it with your competition. Like, this is what we did for Allen Edmonds, right? So Allen Edmonds, we partnered with another company. And, you know, Allen Edmonds, I love Allen Edmonds shoes. They're like $350, right? But we put together, oh, by the way, see here, this is a template, right? Here's the clients that we've worked with. That's impressive, right? Here's the places we've been quoted. Where do you think all these pieces come from? All these trust marks? How do we get that? How do we organize that? It's in our content library. We have a monitoring process. If we're quoted on the Vendasta blog, because Anchor writes a great blog post, then I want to put that in our content library and then swap that out for the highest items that are here. This is a template. But in this template, we're putting in their logos. In this template, we're also having our VAs and other folks analyze the engagement rate. And the best way to close the deal, by the way, is if you have their competitors. See, look, here's how you guys are doing relative to these other people. And you have, you want to have ones where they're winning and ones where they're losing. You don't want to always make it look bad, and you don't want to make it look like they always win, because otherwise, why would they hire you? And you're right, Greg. I'd only put ones that are actual clients. We've been very fortunate that we have been able to work with some really cool guys. Right? We show the top posts, all these. And you know, the funny thing is that I think this was when we had Nike too. And Mark was with me. We were here. See, say hi, Mr. Mark.
How's it going, fellas?
We're at Nike headquarters. Wasn't that funny? How was that in Portland, Oregon? Nike headquarters.
I remember.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was very corporate, but kind of exciting because we were going to the team that can actually get things done.
That's right. We're going over all analytics. So we're preparing these same decks over and over again. Now, do you see what's going on here, right? We're just pasting stuff, following the template. We're comparing against other folks. This is part of the brand analysis. You like the use of colors here? The overlap audiences. So for example, people that like Alan Edmonds, they're more likely to be interested in outliers than 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? They're more likely to drink this kind of drink. They're more likely to do this versus that. Look, we have our 3-stage funnel. Look at the colors, right? And we put their people here, showing what the social graph looks like. Isn't that nice, right? And this goes on and on. How long do you think it took to put one of these together? Not too long, right? Are you seeing the picture here? Here's Salesforce. Salesforce is a big company. Bruce says, I had a proposal out on a website redo along with SEO management hosting. I did presentation and they liked what they met their assigned budget below. They decided to go with the original web builder and build a website with no SEO or nothing. They contacted me the other day and they're having issues with the website. Ha ha ha, you get the last laugh. See, by the way, if they don't take your proposal, you raise the price on them, right? And how it shows up on desktop and mobile asking for my help, right? Yeah, it only takes a couple hours to put one of these together, okay? Long time, so I'm going to skip these, but, oh, this is a fun one, Korea Telecom. Korea Telecom is like the AT&T or Verizon of the United States. Now, this proposal, well, you can see it was 10 years ago, it was 2011. I had to meet their CTO multiple times. I met him in New York at a big conference. I met him in LA, and I met him in Seoul, South Korea. And it's typical with Asian clients. Have any you guys have an Asian client or a company in Asia? It takes longer to close, right? And the reason why is it's relationships. Like Americans and West cultures, they like to close deals right away. And that's just to Eastern cultures, then it feels like these Americans or Canadians just want to get their money right away. But for me to close the deal, which was an analytics deal, I had to, I think this is the iPhone 4 when that came out. Does it help when my last name is you on what kind of Asian they are? The big boss, he wanted the brand new iPhone that was coming out in like 2 weeks or something like that. And you guys know with Apple, you're not supposed to be able to get the thing until like the day of, because they're real like secret about that, remember? You guys know how that is? Like they're super secret. So in order for me to get this deal, I had to use some connections that I had at Apple and get that iPhone. I'm sorry, I apologize, there's noise here. I had to get that iPhone a week early before anyone else could get it. And I flew to Seoul, South Korea and hand delivered 2 brand new iPhones in a meeting, and I turned around and flew right back. That's called a turn and burn. You ever heard about that? A turn and burn? It's like flying to London and flying right back. I used to do that at American Airlines. I'd fly to, whatever, to Costa Rica. Or Costa Rica was fly to, you know, Lima, go right back. Yeah, that's a huge turn and burn. So there's that proposal there. And so what closed it was not because we had a superior analytics suite. They already had analytics. They already had advertising. But the big boss wanted a new iPhone before anyone else. And he was the minister of telecom before that was his previous job. Now, just to be cautioned so that you guys don't get into trouble, because I'm not a lawyer, doing that in the United States would be illegal. But in other countries, understand the rules are different, okay? Culture is different. So these are things that when you are taking assets, things that you have learned along the way, sharing awesome things like, I want to interview Tristan Parmley about his 100+ video templates for chiropractors, right? Why? Because it's good content and it deserves to live at the middle of the funnel here, right? I want to talk about experiences. I want to interview friends of mine, the ones that I just showed you, right? Most of these guys are friends of mine, which seems like it's not fair, but that's how you get around this whole RFP, RFI thing. And then we put this into our 3x3. We put it as part of our topic wheel. We build authority because we are always looking for the best pieces here. So we can call this why, how, and who, but it can also be called content, people, and properties. It can then be broken into 3 components each, and each of those 3 components can be broken into 3 components. So you have 27 components, right? So you'll never be done with building authority. A lot of folks will say, oh, Dennis already has a ton of authority, doesn't need any more. It's insatiable. You got to always keep building authority. Why? Because the more authority that we build, the more opportunities that we can make for you guys, right? We have so much stuff. I'm not trying to boast. We have so much stuff coming in because of the number of lighthouses that we're generating off of what we have here, that it's and we're doing it intentionally, that I would love to build your business, right? I played about a zillion times. Let me know in the chat. Have you seen this before? This is Grant Cardone. So we had a meeting yesterday with someone who's in Grant's mastermind. And we played this video where he says, hey guys, you know, Dennis wanted to ask me to do this or this, right? Loved it because this guy's a big Grant Cardone fan. Look, it's got 100,000 views on it, right? Here, let me.
Best 1 minute tip.
See, we're talking about 1 minute video. So I asked Grant, hey, make a 1 minute video. See?
Hey guys, Dennis wanted me to send you this.
See, that's good. And then
levels, and that dude you're working with, Dennis, he's a bad man. You see what I do? I keep getting your attention. He's a bad man. And that's my little girl right there. She a freak.
See, that's pretty good, right? Now, when you have a moment like that, wouldn't you want to put that in your topic wheel? Wouldn't you want to amplify that and put a lot of money on your 3x3? If you have a clear lighthouse, let's say it's real estate agent. Well, Grant Cardone knows something about real estate. If you're a real estate agent, they probably know Grant Cardone, right? And put it out there, right? That's how you're going to leverage this authority to drive a ton of power for you. Same thing like here. This is Dr. Karen Freeberg, who's got the #1 book on how do you do social media if you're a student. She teaches all the social media professors. And we hired her because she has a ton of authority and she's a good person to work on Brian Solis's book, Life Scale. Brian Solis is a friend of mine. Karen's a friend of mine. They love each other. And we make money because we're combining points of power that we have, right? Just like this CNN thing was so good that I chopped it up into 20, 30 different pieces. I was on CNN 5 times for 4 minutes each. So I had 20 minutes of live TV time, right? Which made lots and lots of 1 minute videos. You guys follow me on that? This is what drives power. This was just, what is today, the 13th? Today's the 14th, so this was a couple days ago. So I literally wrote this post. We got off a call with the Snapchat team, and Eric is our lead, helping all these businesses get going on Snapchat ads, and here is the link, go sign up, right? So everything we're doing here is how we're generating leads. Usually the high authority pieces that we're talking about here are only possible when you have in your agency that you can afford to produce these pieces, because these are long-term investments that just because you produce one of these high authority items doesn't mean you're going to have all these leads coming in. A lot of the leads that have come in the last couple of weeks that I've farmed out to you guys have been things that have taken me 10 years to build because of relationships, because of speaking, because knowing one person, you know, then introduces me to another person, to then, you know, another group, to just these kinds of things, they take some time, right? in the same way that when we're training up other, like these young adults and training up some not so young adults, going through this process where you'll see that on Facebook, for example, or LinkedIn, I'm literally sharing things that other people are saying, doing. So if I come here to the notifications that have happened just in the last few minutes, what's this? What has Tristan said? 1 minute ago, just finished demoing some of the awesome things our agency does for chiropractors with 100 other agency owners. Thanks, Dennis, for the opportunity to share a little bit of what I learned. That is fantastic, right? So if we're following the stuff that we preach, and you see here, I got my phone here, and if I go here to my Facebook and I go to those notifications again, and I see that here, I got it on my phone here, I can comment and I could literally do this and say, Tristan, dude, you are an absolute pro. I love seeing how you guys are kicking butt and you're speaking in front of all of our Conquer Local Academy friends. You guys, Tristan Parmley. So there, I just made a video and I hit next and I post it. And there it is. In fact, I'll share my screen again so you can see this. You can see what I just posted. I made that video live, right? And this will show up, right? Let's refresh this thing. You'll see it shows up, right? There it is, right? And now I've incepted him because his friends are seeing what we're doing. And then he's incepted me because now he got me to share all this stuff right now. You see this? See how I made this video right now with my phone? We're at the top of the hour. So we got a couple more minutes if you guys are cool with this. So driving leads is giving out your knowledge freely. So here, we've created these courses, put it out there. I'd encourage you to get the master presentation so you can make these with or without our help. Put your packages out there. Price. Build a long-term strategy. You put ungated free content that goes all the way up. Lead magnet, tripwire, course, package. Package is how you make money as an agency. Rev share is how you have this ongoing thing where you're a performance agency, which we will talk about later this season, right? Power hour, so your time is valuable. Your consulting is out separately. If you don't price out your consulting separately, and if you make your consulting available for free, then you're a salesperson and you're not a high value expert to talk to. Look, this is one where this is last weekend at summer camp in Indianapolis. And here I'm pointing at the screen and I'm playing the speaker reel that Mark Wagner has. Isn't that nice? So Mark Wagner has a speaker reel. See this guy, Mark Wagner. See, now look at him here and look at him on the picture there. Which one? Like there, look, he's wearing a suit and that one looks different, huh?
That guy looks professional.
That guy looks real professional. Wouldn't you like to look like? And then he play his. Oh, here I'll show you. Let's see. .mp4. Where's the one that we had here? Not this one. Oh. You want to go hunt through my mail for a second? I want to show you something. Check this out. And this is how we get scale through our VAs. So I'll come here, Mark Wagner, Mark Wagner, speaker reel. My internet is bad here. Oh, look, you can see all the projects we have and all the money that's coming in. Oh, here we go. Speaker reel. All right, check this out. And if you want one of these, just get your own VA, okay? Or have us do it, but we're going to charge you a lot more money. All right, see this. Look at this one. Now remember, this is just taking random clips from all over the place on stage, because it's a little hard, isn't it? But check this out. People are like, wow, this guy's amazing. He must be high. See, it's all about driving. Oh, bummer. Buffer. Let's let it buffer a little bit. But you see what's going on here? Oh, we got a couple more slides left. High authority content. Look, B-roll. You're done speaking, other people come up. It's all that behind the scenes stuff that people want. This is literally just a few days ago. Obviously, I didn't take this picture because I'm busy talking to these other people who are coming up and buying packages for Jordan Bowen and Tristan Parmley to service. Isn't that nice? Here we're making videos. Oh, look, there's Dr. Jordan speaking in front of these people, looking real good. Look at that wacky picture of you. What's that tattoo on your left hand anyway? That's nice. Okay, let's play this one. Bad request. Oh no, that's Hotwire. Oh, what's going on here? Where'd our thing go? Sizzle reel. Play this thing. Right. So like that. What do you think that does to your average selling price? Do you think you charge more? Even if you do the exact same service, do you think you can charge a little bit more, maybe? Okay. Shelly says, I can't wait to get on stage with Mark with Senior Scorecard. You know, we're supposed to be in Minneapolis soon too. So maybe we'd hang out there. There's a chicken place. It's called Pizza Ranch, but they have really good fried chicken for some reason. Yeah, Michael Haug and Alex Haug will meet there. All right. So we have, actually, I've missed a couple slides. We have 2 more slides left. Let's go back and finish these slides. Minneapolis, I have a 612 phone number. Can you believe that? All right, let's summarize today. This is session 1 of 3 on the $1 Million Client. And the $1 Million Client today, we're talking about how do you generate leads? You need high authority content based on those 3 components of authority. You concentrate authority because it's high authority into a lighthouse. A lighthouse is where you're directing the authority. You build people, process, and platform because systems allow you to have enough time to be able to work on investing in your business instead of working on your business. Repeatable processes are the key to doing things to get repeatable excellence, what we call graceful failure. We expect failure. It's hitting the ball into the fairway instead of into the woods. It's not perfection, it's moving forward instead of being innovative. You're not trying to do new things. Pilots and surgeons are not trying to do new things. They're going for the result, which is landing the aircraft on time and healing the patient. We're not trying, there's the whole novelty thing. Do not go for novelty unless you are an artist, right? We're going for profit. We're going for results and leads for the client. Partner up with other people here. If you're not in an accountability group, do that because these other folks are not competitors. So Jordan Bowen and Tristan Parmley are not competitors. Yes, they serve chiropractors, but are you guys competitors? Unmute yourself and let us know. Interview these other people, which gives you who, what, and where. You're interviewing the other people who are experts in the things that you haven't done. And just because you edify them, does that make you any less? It makes you stronger. So when I interview other people and I extract their knowledge, does it mean like I don't know very much? Man, this thing is loud. Mark's got a really loud computer that's right behind me. You're able to build your value ladder because you're not going to be able to create all that content all by yourself. And then of course, last piece, power hour. So to test whether they're serious, charge them some nominal amount. In our case, for $1 million client, charging $5,000 for consultations, nothing. If they balk at spending $5,000 to talk to me, then they're not high enough authority level. The company's not big enough. They don't have enough need. That's called BANT, budget, authority, need, timing, right? Because if they're going to balk $1,000, what do you think they'll be when you ask for $1 million, right? And if you don't have the balls to ask for $1 million, don't worry about it. Then ask for $1,000 1,000 times because that's $1 million, right? Next week, we're going to cover module 5, which is session 2 in our $1 Million Client, and we're going to talk about how to close a client, okay? So today we've talked about all the authority that brings people inbound and they think you're good, but at some point you have to talk about price. At some point you have to talk about what you're going to do. You have to narrow scope. You have to deal with whether you want that client or not. And we have a special guest who has a multi-million-dollar agency, and his agency is so successful that he has acquired other agencies. And you know you're a baller when you are so big, you're not just trying to get more clients, but you're growing by acquiring other agencies. So you don't want to miss out next week. And again, here's these resources. If you're not in an accountability group, if you haven't gone through the first sessions, just a snapshot. If you're not in our Facebook group, if you're not in the office hours, you're missing out. That's like going to church on Sunday and then you're a heathen the other 6 days of the week. So make sure that you are doing these things, because I promise you, you could pretend gravity doesn't exist. It will still get you, okay? We are here to build your agency. I don't think you're gonna find another place with people who are as good. You know what? We're teaching actually Josh Nelson, 7-figure agency too. That's a good group too. But in terms of, you know, getting your agency off the ground and growing it through systems and processes, you're not gonna find a better group. I think you guys are awesome. Maybe we can take a few questions, and if you need to run, go ahead and run. It's Friday afternoon. We're here for you guys.
Let's
Oliver
do a couple
Bohr,
of questions.
Yeah, fantastic. Put your question in there. Andrew's going to choose you.
Yeah, we'd love to shake it up. We'd love to hear from you guys. Pop some
Well, just go
questions
ahead
to everyone in
go
the
through
chat, or
yourself.
unmute yourself one at a time. Love to
Yeah,
get somebody
no
else
one's gonna bite.
chatting
I'm not going to make fun of you.
Let's do 3 questions. Ty,
Let's do it.
I can see you unmuted yourself. Ty, you're up.
I did. Can you hear me okay, Andrew?
Yeah, got you there.
Yeah. So, hey, Dennis, a quick question. By the way, I expressed to you gratitude as well. I got to talk to Andrew and some other folks earlier, but here's a question. So I am, and I'm going to confess this, it's kind of embarrassing, but I am struggling with Lighthouse. And the reason being is my background, all of my, career is really in the area of strategic coaching, counseling, consulting. And I'm wondering, I just need enlightened on that. And maybe that question's not going to apply to everybody else if they've already solved the Lighthouse issue. The most customers I have are contractors, and I could do that. My dad was a home builder, but I'm really passionate about coaching and strategically using, visibility. So that's my question. Does that make sense?
Okay. So you should cover episodes 1 and 2 in season 1 about finding a lighthouse, and also in your accountability group. You have a good problem because you're choosing between strategic coaching and contractors, which are 2 different businesses.
And
one is a local business and the other one's not.
Yeah.
You want to go through the exercise on how you determine where your strength is for a lighthouse client. And there's 3 components you're going to go through to score based on those exercises that will give you an objective view on which direction you should go. But basically, where is your strongest lighthouse? Do you have an amazing, well-known coach that all the other coaches would look at and say, wow, based on what Ty's done, I need to follow that. And that's this. And that also answers, is it Callie's question, right? How do you target doctors and lawyers? Been struggling where to find them? You need a lighthouse there too. So you guys on Cordray, he didn't know any dentists. He had no dentist clients. What did we do? We gave him the #1 dentist out there, the most well-known dentist that has 27,000 other dentists. Now he's got dentists all over the place, just like Mark Wagner's fan is all over the place. This thing's loud.
Can I ask you a follow-up question? I'm sorry.
You probably want to ask in the office hours, right? And if you have questions from previous sessions, ask in the office hours, because we want to keep, this is recorded, and we want to create maximum value for everyone here, right? Yep. So if you have a question on the material from today, let's ask those first.
Got it. Yep. Understood.
I would like to hear from Oliver Bohr. You posted it in the chat here. I'm interviewing Josh Nelson. Last week, we talked about taking action and doing an interview, and we've been chatting, trying to line something up. I would love to hear from you, how you're doing that. How are you reaching out? How are you engaging? How are you getting people? How are you conducting your interviews? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So Dennis actually offered access to one of the Blitz Nation webinars on how to interview high-profile people. I've yet to get my hands on that. I'm very excited to. So I also asked a question last week if I don't have that sort of authority, because Dennis is showing interviews with CNN and all of these other high-profile people in places, and I just didn't have that. So I said, how do I, I don't have anything, so which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? So he said, start interviewing some people, and I one day was just audacious enough to reach out to Dennis. I thought, what the hell, let me just give it a go. I asked him if he would interview me. If I could interview him, he said yes. And then as soon as he said yes, I thought, let me go for Josh Nelson, see how this goes also. So I reached out to Josh. I was like, hey, we have a mutual friend, Dennis. I'm actually going to be hosting him on my podcast. I was wondering if you wanted to come on as well. He was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. So like I had 3 weeks ago, I didn't have a podcast. Last week I had never interviewed anybody. Then I did Zool because he talks about real estate. He's a real estate investor. So I spoke to him. Then I got John Cordray, now Dennis, Josh Nelson. I spoke to Eric Carlson. So like, it just sort of happened so fast, you know, and all of the season 1 is stuff I'm really trying to get my head around. So it's all of the simple stuff that I'm really trying to get and grasp. But all of this authority building stuff, that just happens so fast. So I'm sort of going backwards than I feel like a lot of people are, that I have that authority and it's growing so fast, probably because Dennis said yes. So that's what's going on with me.
That's awesome, Oliver. Thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah.
You know,
and also, sorry, one more. And right after we got off that call last week, also I reached out to you, Andrew, and I didn't say it because I was talking to you, but I'm also going to be interviewing Andrew later on this month as well. So we got some really exciting episodes coming up on my podcast.
Nice. I popped my LinkedIn in the chat there if anybody wants to grab it and connect. But Oliver, I love that. And Dennis, that reminds me of don't just binge watch, binge do.
Yeah.
Take action, right?
Sure.
That's fantastic. Well, you know what, everybody, that was great. I think that's a session. I think, we got some good actions for this week. Some great value. Thank you, Dennis, for sharing those stories and all of those insights. And looking forward to next week and who that special guest is. It's a great series. So thanks again, Dennis. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. And I hope everyone keeps well and stays healthy. So have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week.